How we feel plays such a major part in our future. First, it's what we know, so we can make wise decisions about danger and opportunity. But second is how we feel. But sexy, first, it's how you feel about the past. You need a healthy attitude about the past so that you use it, not live in it, but use it. Not carry it like a burden, but let the wise lessons you learned from the past now serve as fuel to furnish the future. Next, a good attitude about the future. You got to set your goals. We look back for experience, but we look forward for inspiration. We must be instructed and inspired. No better inspiration than the successful village. I started this process when I was 25, literally rocked my world, changed my life. I had no idea it was so simple. Here's how simple it is. Decide what you want, write it all down. Make a list of the people you want to meet. Make a list of the books you want to read. Make a list of the classes you want to take. Make a list of the skills you want to learn. Make a list of the cities you want to visit. Make a list of the investments you want to have. Foreign, just make these lists. Here's the next. Start checking them off. Put a lot of little things on some lists so you can start checking off something right away. That's part of the fun. Here's what's next. If you check off something major, celebrate, because that inspires you to make a longer list of both and put everything on your list. Little things insignificant to someone else, important to you. I put a little revenge on my first list. My mentor said it's healthy. Some of the people who said I couldn't succeed, kids from the farms of Idaho, they went on my list. Couldn't wait to get my new car, drive it up on their lawn, say, oh, pardon me, here's the money to have it fixed. This little satisfaction. My Japanese friend Toru Ikeda, San Jose, California, put me on his first list. California put me on his first list. A Caucasian gardener. Okay, back then everybody had a Japanese gardener, everybody Japanese garden. I said, I'm Japanese, I'm gonna have a Caucasian garden. Okay, little satisfaction, right? Set your goals, decide what you want, write it down, start checking them off. It's powerful stuff. Next, it's how you feel about everybody. If you want to be a leader, true leader, entrepreneur of the highest order, well-respected, unique in your field, here's number one, how you feel about everybody. And this is philosophical as well. You cannot succeed by yourself, so a unique sense of appreciation of everybody goes with the territory of leadership. It takes everybody for each of us to be successful. One person doesn't make an economy, one person doesn't make a symphony orchestra. It takes everybody for this gathering today. All of you had to be here to make this together. Everybody. If one of you were missing, there wouldn't be this many people here. Everybody to make something work for the office, whatever the enterprise takes everybody. The gift of America is everybody who came over the last 300 years. Bring with them their gifts. No country has become such a depository of the gifts of the world like America has over the last 300 years. People coming, bringing their gifts, gift of language, gift of learning, gift of politics, gift of government, gift of medicine, gift of healing, gift of music and gift of the work ethic. All this came in steady streams from all over the world, making us unusual because of the gifts that were brought. And to understand that and appreciate it now gives you open access to the market that's available to make your fortune. Now, what I love to do is go back where these gifts came from. Not long ago, I was in Rome, had 1,000 people in my class. Someone suggested Shimron loves the music of Andrea Bocelli, the blind opera singer from Italy. So when they introduced me, I walked to the podium and all 1,000 of these Italians stood up and sang for me one of Andrea Bocelli's songs in true Italian style. Years, I described it to my grandchildren later. I said, here was the scene, a choir of 1,000 and an audience of 1. And that was me. I thought, here's where some of these gifts sting. The gift of poetry. Gifts. So learn to appreciate the gifts. Now, the last attitude is how you feel about yourself. Nothing more powerful than self-esteem, which creates self-confidence. The greatest steps towards success come from self-confidence, and that comes from self-esteem. Doing what you know you should so that at the end of the day, you have high self-esteem. If you think in a positive way, you'll have positive results and you'll be happy most of the time. So how do you use the power of positive thinking? Well, they did a study at the University of Pennsylvania. It was funded by some of the biggest companies in America. over a 22-year period. They interviewed more than 350,000 people like you and I and asked them a lot of questions about their lives and their attitudes and so on. One of the questions they asked them is, what do you think about most of the time? And they conducted a series of experiments. They would have graduate students who were working on their papers in psychology or sociology phone these people once a week at random during the week and just say, what are you thinking about right now? They'd write it down. And the next week, they'd call them on a different day at a different time. This is all prearranged that they would be expecting the call sometime. What are you thinking about right now? Let me write it down. Then they began to sort these groups out in terms of deciles, which is 10. The bottom 10%, the next 10%, all the way up to the top 10%, all the way up to the top 10%. And they noticed that people in the top 10% thought very differently from people in the bottom 80%. What do top people think about most of the time? Can you guess? The answer was so simple, it was amazing. They think about what they want and how to get it most of the time. They think about their goals and they think about their priorities and they think about their actions and activities each day. They think about the number of people they need to call on and the number of proposals they need to put together and the number of things they need to put together and the number of things they need to read and just study. They're always thinking about what they want. And when you think about what you want, it makes you happy. It makes you positive, makes you feel in control of your whole life. And then they think about how to get it. So in my seminars, I'll say that the most important word for leadership and success is the word how. Whenever you have a goal, the only question you ask is, how can I achieve this goal? If I have a problem, how can I solve this problem? If you have an obstacle, how can I overcome the obstacle? Top people think about what they want and how to get it most of the time. And as a result, they're thinking about their goal and they're thinking about the actions that they could take every single minute of every day to move faster toward achieving that goal. Earl Nightingale once said that happiness is the progressive, step-by-step realization of a worthy ideal or goal. When you feel yourself moving step-by-step each hour, each day, toward achieving something that's important to you, you feel positive and happy most of the time. By the way, do you know what unsuccessful people think about most of the time? They think about what they don't want, the things that make them angry or sad, usually past events that they can't change. And they think about who's to blame for all their problems. So whenever you see people talking and complaining about things that they can't change, things in their life that are their responsibility, and then blaming others for their problems, you know you're dealing with a negative, unhappy person with a very limited future and a very unhappy present. So the way you take control of your mind, like grabbing the wheel of a vehicle, is to start to think about what you want, how to get it all day long. Your expectations largely determine the quality of your life. In this sense, is that whatever you expect with confidence becomes your self-fulfilling prophecy. In other words, you're always telling your future by the way you talk about how you think things are going to turn out. You're like a fortune teller in your own life. And if you believe that things are going to turn out well, if you expect that you're not well, then by gun they do. If you believe that you're going to be popular and people are going to buy and that you have a great product and a great company and you're going to have a great life and you're going to have a great life and you're going to be accepted and well received by people, and then you act that way. So it's very, very important that you always expect the best. And this is the key. Expect the best, expect the best. Expect the best of yourself, expect the best of yourself, expect the best of other people, but especially expect the best of people who look up to you. One of the discoveries that Harvard University made is that there are two qualities of child raising that raise happy, healthy kids. Two qualities, by the way, that raise happy, healthy, powerful business teams as well and sales teams. Number one is a democratic environment. A democratic environment is where everybody is welcome to express their opinions and people discuss and debate and get feedback and so on and so forth. And they make their decisions based on consensus. So everybody feels valuable and important and respected. That's number one. For kids, it's phenomenal. Ever since my kids have been little, I always ask for their opinion. What would you like to do? Where would you like to go? Now as they grow up, we take turns. Where would you like to go for dinner? Where would you like to go? And so on. And the kids decide. And now when they're adults, they feel that their opinion is valid. When they meet with other adults, they feel that their opinion is valid because I've ingrained in them all their lives that their opinion is worth something. So, number one is a democratic environment. Number two is a climate of positive expectations. It's the parents' expectation that their kids will do well. Just like I tell my kids, you're going to be a very successful person when you grow up. You're going to do extremely well. You're going to be very popular. You're going to get good grades. When you expect the best of your children, children rise to your expectations. They may argue with you, they may reject, they may discount your positive statements because you're a parent, but it affects them at an unconscious level. I remember reading a wonderful line from a journalist. He said, "My father was not very talkative. He was a good man, but he didn't talk very much. But I do remember him saying one thing which affected my whole life. He said, 'Son, I expect you to do something worthwhile with your life when you grow up.'" He said, I still remember that because whenever it came up, he'd say, "Son, whatever you do, I expect you to do something worthwhile with your life when you grow up." He said that rang in my mind all my life. He said, I've driven all my life to do something worthwhile with my life just because of the positive expectations. So it's really important telling people that you expect the best of them. If you're married, telling your spouse that you believe in them and that you expect the best and you believe they'll be successful. And if they're not successful, then they'll learn something. They'll be successful next time. It's repeating that over and over again is the greatest blessing that a person can have. Okay, so expect the best, expect the best, expect the best of other people. Expect the best of yourself too. I want to talk to you today about one of the most important single aspects of success, of all kinds of success, and it's what you've heard of called a positive mental attitude. A positive mental attitude is a generally constructive response to the stresses that face the average person every single day. A positive attitude is where you feel that you have the ability to control your world and to control your world and to control your life.
A positive attitude is like a chicken and egg thing. If you're successful, you're positive. If you're positive, you're successful. Which comes first? Doesn't really matter. But we know this. Positive thinkers are men and women who accomplish an awful lot more than people who have negative mental attitudes. Your job is to develop a positive mental attitude. Your job is to become thoroughly positive and constructive towards yourself and your possibilities and the world around you and the people in your life. And the way you do this is very much the same way you develop physical fitness. Now, if I were to say to you, if you go to a gym and you work out on a regular basis, an hour, hour and a half a day, and you do this every day for 30 days, and you match that with a proper diet, that you'll actually see a difference in yourself physically. Now, if I were to say that to you, you'd say, oh, of course. Anybody knows that if you worked out steadily for 30 days, you'd notice the difference. Well, it's the same thing with mental fitness. So I'm going to ask you to do this for me. I'm going to give you 7 steps, 7 things that you can do, 7 things that have been proven to work. What I'm going to ask you to do is that you practice these 7 steps for 21 days. The reason for this is it takes 21 days to develop a new habit pattern of any kind. If you work on a habit pattern and you practice it every day, you'll begin to develop new neural grooves in your brain that cause you to think and act more optimistically automatically. You get up in the morning feeling better. You're more positive toward the challenges you face during the day. You're more optimistic in the face of adversity. You start to become a more confident and optimistic person. And when you do, you'll find your whole life will open up around you like sunshine on a bright morning. There's 7 basic steps to mental fitness. If you practice all of these steps together, what will happen to you is incredible. But here's the first rule, and this is the rule that runs through everything. And it is this: remember that everything counts. Everything that you do counts. The biggest mistake that people make is they think that only what they want to count counts. No, when you read a book, when you listen to an audio program, when you go to a course, when you go to bed early and get up early and you work, it all counts and it's all going on the plus side of your ledger. But when you watch television, waste time, hang out, fool around, and so on, all of that counts as well, and it's going on the negative side of your ledger. And here's an important point. If what you are doing is not moving you towards your goals, then it's probably moving you away from your goals. Nothing is neutral. Everything that you're doing is either moving you toward the things that you want to accomplish in life, the person you want to be, the wealth you want to accumulate, or it's moving you away. Everything counts. Number one is positive self-talk. Positive self-talk means that you are optimistic in your conversation with yourself. What we have found is that 95% of your emotions, how you feel about yourself on a minute-to-minute basis, are determined by the way you talk to yourself. This is called your inner dialogue. It's the stream of words and thoughts and feelings that course through your day like a river going through your mind. The sad fact is that if you do not deliberately and consciously talk to yourself in a positive and constructive way, you will, by default, think about things that will make you unhappier because you worry and anxiety. Remember, your mind is like a vacuum. It will not remain empty. If you don't fill it with positive thoughts, it will fill with negative thoughts. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. Your mind is like a garden. If you do not deliberately plant flowers and tend them carefully, weeds will grow without any encouragement at all. If you don't think positive thoughts and take good care of them, negative thoughts will grow in your mental garden without any effort on your part. Your entire world around you is a mirror that reflects back to you your dominant thoughts. You say, wherever you look, there you are. It's almost like you live in a 360-degree mirror, and wherever you look, you see yourself reflected back. Now, the 3 or 4 places where this is most common is, first of all, your relationships. Now remember, human beings are extraordinarily sensitive, so that if you have negative thoughts going on about anything, you affect the relationships close to instantaneously. They'll pick it up across the crowded room. Women, by the way, are far better at this than men. Men are kind of like blocks of cheese, but women are like high-tech computers. Have you ever had an experience every man's had? They phone home, they say hi, she says, what's wrong? That's all you said is hi. Hello? She said, what's wrong? Is it your boss again? How did you know? A woman can pick it up with a single word. You can walk in the door and say hi, and she'll just go. Maybe it's at me. She'll just read with regard to relationships almost instantaneously. We'll show you what's going on inside your own thoughts. If you're feeling happy, your relationships will reflect it immediately. If you're unhappy or angry for some reason, they'll reflect on it immediately. A second area, by the way, has to do with income. Your outer world of income will be determined by your inner world of attitude toward money, earning, productivity, performance, and everything else. With regard to your health, your inner world of attitude toward health, food, diet, fitness, everything else determines your external world of health. And also, to success. If you believe that you're going to be a big success, if you believe it on the inside, then you'll see it. It'll be reflected back to you in your outer world. Intelligent people realize that whatever they see in their outer world is coming from themselves. So they always ask this great question. What is it in me? What is it in me that is causing what's going on in my environment? Now, this is the question of the superior person. The average person always tries to blame something in their external environment or someone past, present, future, another mental law. The law of belief. This is a biggie. This is really the biggie. This is the foundation principle, by the way, of all religions and all philosophies and all success. The law of belief. It says that whatever you believe with feeling becomes your reality because you always act on the basis of your beliefs. And the more intensely you hold the belief, the more the belief becomes true for you. There's conscious beliefs that we have, and there's unconscious beliefs. And there's that wonderful line from Josh Billings, the humorist. He said, "It ain't what a man knows what hurts them. It's what he knows what ain't true." And many things we know about ourselves ain't true at all. What we do is we develop scotomas or blind spots. Once we've decided to believe certain things, we do not see anything that contradicts it. We may be doing wonderful things or wonderful work or being very successful. We don't even see that if we decide to believe that we will never make much more than we're making. Sometimes your parents will tell you, you know, you got to be worried about money, you've got to be careful about money all your life, and you'll never make very much. So you've got to hold on to every penny. And so people just hunker down and they're more concerned about security than anything else. And so we develop these beliefs, these blind spots. And sometimes you need somebody to come along and open it up so you can see this vast world of possibilities that you have. And when this happens, people change completely. So your biggest obstacle is usually self-limiting beliefs. So what are your self-limiting beliefs? What are the most common ones? Well, the most common ones are internally. I'm not smart enough. I'm not as smart as other people. Or I'm not talented enough. Or I'm not creative enough. Is that no one's born with any beliefs? Every belief you have about yourself, your potential, the world, religion, politics, people, anything, every belief you had to be taught meticulously with very careful instruction repeated over and over again. And so, the starting point of using the law of belief on your behalf is, first of all, you ask yourself, what beliefs would it be useful or helpful to me to have? And imagine that you could go to the belief store and buy a belief like a piece of software and program it into your hard drive so it became part of your operating system. But if you could only choose one belief, what would be a good belief to buy? Well, a friend of mine spent 18 years studying the biographies of more than 500 men and women who had started with nothing and became successful. And he was looking for the common denominator of success, and he found it. He found that every single one of these people throughout their lives absolutely believed that they were going to be a big success. They absolutely believed they were going to be a big success when they grew up. And no matter what happened to them in their adult lives, and they never lost sight of that. Like the 3 wise men following the star. They felt that everything that happened was part of the process. Every setback was a lesson. Every pain was something sent to teach them something that would be helpful. And they never stopped believing in themselves. So if you could buy one belief, the belief is that you are destined to be a big success, that you have incredible potential, that you're surrounded by incredible opportunities, and that you're going to be a huge success in life, and everything that's happened up to now is part of your preparation. So challenge your self-limiting beliefs. Don't ever say, I can't do that, or I'm not good at that, or something else. No. Wait a second. What if that's totally false? What if you deep down inside, and you have the ability to be extraordinary? That's something that's important to you, whether skiing or skydiving or mathematics or selling or earning money or running a business. You probably have more ability than you could dream of. But don't sell yourself short. Now in the Bible it says, according to your faith, that is done unto you. That's one of the most important principles of the New Testament. The Old Testament, it says, as a man thinketh in his heart. And the heart stands for the subconscious mind, which means a deep belief. So is he or so is she. William James says beliefs create the actual fact. Is it easy to change your beliefs, especially old, negative ones? No, it's not easy. Is it possible? Absolutely. Is it easy to lose weight? No. Is it possible? Of course it is.